what's funny is, I am not, neither of us, I don't think, I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, but we're all going to be Bitcoin maximalists now. Okay. What I mean by that is the Bitcoin maximalist philosophy. And again, I recognize that many of its exponents and so on are like insane, and it's all true. But unfortunately, you're going to kind of need insane people for what is about to happen. Okay. Their worldview is the closest. Most people don't have any idea of what's coming. Okay. But Bitcoin maximalists are maybe the only people on earth who are prepared for the potential sovereign default of the US dollar and the rise of Bitcoin and the concept of hyper-Bitcoinization, where the reserve currency switches over to BTC and all fiat around the world like basically collapses relative to the hardest money around, right?
Are you ready for that potential scenario? Bitcoin becoming the world reserve. There's a lot of crypto influencers, a lot of YouTubers, a lot of macro economists that are saying this is definitely a possibility. And if this is the case, how is that transition going to happen? Is it going to be a smooth transition? Probably not. There's probably going to be some turmoil in between. Are you going to be caught with your pants down, or are you going to be ready for when that transition happens? All fiat hyperinflates, and Bitcoin is going to be that global reserve currency. It's only a matter of time. $1 million Bitcoin means the fiat in your account is worthless. And there you have it from Balaji. If you don't know who this is, he's the former CTO of Coinbase, and he's also commenting and saying they will eventually try to seize your Bitcoin. Eventually, maybe soon. So buy Bitcoin, get your coins off exchanges, and get to a Bitcoin-friendly jurisdiction. States like Florida and Texas in the US, or El Salvador and the UAE if you're abroad. And you also see he's commenting on what Diane Leclerc said. They're going to attempt to limit/block the exit ramps to Bitcoin exchanges as the banking system gets run. It's starting. So right now, the best thing for you to do is hodl your Bitcoin and get your crypto off exchanges. We've been telling you this time and time again for years. If you don't get it, you don't get it. And with that, what's happening, Crypto Crew? Sean's coming back at you, another cryptocurrency video. Getting straight into it and continuing. We're looking at the Bitcoin price chart, and we've showed you this. We got the inverse head and shoulders playing out. We ran into this 0.236 level, and Bitcoin really hasn't made any movement yet. This is the weekly, but looking at the hourly, we see that Bitcoin has tested that 2.36 level once, twice, 3 times, got back above it and acted as a retest, and look, when it had this bounce up, it went all the way up to almost 29,000, and look what happened. We had this major correction down. If we take a measure move to see how far this went down, this was a 7% drop within like 2 hours. Why this happened? Well, taking a look here, there was 31 million in long positions liquidated in the last hour. This is the biggest spike in liquidations in a single hour in the past 3 weeks. So, but all in all, we see it. There's a lot of confluence and there's a lot of traffic in this 28.8K area. This acted as support, and then when we fell through, there was a dramatic fall through. But every time we touch it, a dramatic bounce up. Touch it, dramatic bounce up. So what do you think is going to happen when Bitcoin actually breaks through this 28.8K level comfortably? And looking at the price action, we're sitting at 27.7K, and we've tested this various times as we showed you. But once we get above this, it's going to be off to the races. And taking a look at what Cathie Wood's talking about, she's saying it's like an earthquake, and she blames her fund's poor performance on the Fed's aggressive rate hikes. The Federal Reserve, for those who don't know, all last year pushed rate hikes to the limit. We've seen historic rate hikes all of 2022. Now, with what happened with the banking collapse with SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, we may see a more dovish Fed. The Fed may pivot, but time will tell. We'll see how the Fed continues through 2023. Without further ado, let's hear from Cathie Wood and get her thoughts on the markets and what's to come.
A couple of things have happened here that have never happened really in history, and so the banks didn't expect it. The first was interest rates up 19-fold in less than a year. Never happened. Under Volcker, which it was twofold, 10 to 20%. And the low base does matter. Many people dismissed it, saying, oh, just such a low base. No, expectations were low base. So that was the first. We've never seen that magnitude of an earthquake, I would say. Then the second thing that no one expected, again, because it hasn't happened in such a long time, was deposits leaving the system. For Silicon Valley Bank, it was venture capital facing a funding drought, and so they had to draw down their deposits. But then for others, you've got money market funds paying much higher than deposits, attracting flows. So that combination was lethal. And so now they have the backstop in. Now what do we have? We have they're going to be paying up if they're depending on the facility. They'll pay roughly 4.37% right now is that rate, OIS plus 10. And that's much higher than many of them have been paying for deposits, number one, while in the case of Silicon Valley Bank, their average held to maturity security on the asset side of their balance sheet was only 1.6. So they're going to see net interest losses. Now, instead of having mark-to-market hit equity, these losses are going to hit earnings. And so it is really proof of concept that innovation solves problems. There are, in Bitcoin, fully decentralized, fully transparent, auditable, which is addressing all of the banking's problems right now. And so a flight to safety, a little bit of an insurance policy. There's no central point of failure in Bitcoin.
And there you have it from Cathie Wood. Do you have that insurance policy? Do you own any Bitcoin? Bitcoin is that one hedge that in the event that the dollar dissipates, which if you look over the past so many decades, the dollars went down and depreciated over 95%. So when the dollar goes away, what's going to be that pivot? What can you save in? What can you change? Well, right now, it doesn't really make sense to save in dollars long term. Bitcoin, hard assets, you get some saying gold, real estate, but most definitely Bitcoin. If you haven't started yet, what are you waiting for?